Join the conversation, Lagos, by sending us messages through WhatsApp. That number is 0809 That is 0809 On Twitter, we're at Smooth981FM. Use that hashtag BusinessExpress981. And we're also streaming live on YouTube.
All right, thank you, sir. So far this month, the market is let's see now, up by 1.84%. Excuse me, what am I saying? Down by 1.84%. As far as the year to date, the market is down by 0.93. I guess I'm begging for some kind of juice for the market. Emmanuel, where's the juice for the stock market? We're not seeing anything. It was largely bearish last week or flat.
Still expecting the foreign investors to start buying into the equities markets.
Yeah, we're still waiting for them, man.
Yeah.
We'll see. So let's see now. As far as what we're looking forward to this week, the MPC meeting, the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, is going to be kicking off today and tomorrow. Emmanuel, are we going to see any surprises? I've been advocating for them to cut the benchmark interest rates to like 7% or something crazy. But what are you expecting?
So basically, two major events have happened since the last time PC meeting. And first is the US Fed. They are now becoming patient. So they had their monetary policy meeting last week. Now the US Fed are expecting no rate hike for 2019 compared to 2 rate hike in the previous meeting.
Okay.
And this is largely due to expectation of slower growth in US. So and secondly, now entering 2019, we saw a surge of FX foreign inflows into our markets.
Okay.
In March alone, I think foreign inflows into the high EW, that's the investors and exporters windows, reached a record of over $3.8 billion.
Wow.
So ordinarily, that should have resulted to a rate cuts on the part of the CBN. We've also seen inflation coming down, also. However, when you look at it, I believe that the CBN will actually leave rates unchanged, and my reason is that one, since we've seen that FS flows into the markets, Naira has not actually changed that significantly. It has remained almost the same thing.
Right, and that's not also, if you are getting FX inflows pumped into your market, your currency should appreciate.
Exactly.
So why hasn't our own appreciated?
So it seems that we're still seeing some outflows there, although not as significant as it was in Q4 last year.
Yeah.
So the outflows are still there, but not as much as it. And secondly, is also the sustainability of these foreign inflows that we're seeing now.
Right.
Currently, now why we're seeing this much of these foreign inflows is because of the carry trade on the fixed income speaks.
Okay.
Rates are looking very attractive to these foreign guys now.
Okay.
So we're expecting rates to go lower in the coming months, and this might not look attractive to them. So based on this, I just believe that the CBNs will just try and be very cautious and just leave rates basically unchanged. Where they are. Exactly.
Just a quick point, just to help our listeners. As far as the US not increasing rates, that means it won't push money to go out of Nigeria.
Basically, when we saw the US hiking rate in 2018, actually saw most of these foreign guys exit our emerging markets, our economies, to go and invest in US because of the higher rates and the less risk. But now its risks are going lower. That just means these foreign guys will now start selectively looking into emerging markets that have a very good value.
Okay. All right, cool. So we expect rates to stay where they are as far as the Monetary Policy Committee is concerned. Okay, let's look at this tweet from Boasen of Channels. He sent this out, I believe it was on Thursday or Friday. He says that the tweet says, and anyone wants to follow Boasen, it's B Boasen, so BBOASON. Everybody in the business community follows Boasen on Twitter. So he says the SEC, that's the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the central bank are in talks on how to bring back margin loans into the stock market, but concerns remain. Help our listeners out. What are margin loans, Emmanuel?
So margin loans basically provides a leverage over an investor can invest in a particular stock using borrowed funds.
That's the main thing, Abi. You're borrowing money to buy stocks.
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
Then the equities you buy will be what you use as a collateral for the money you borrowed.
Okay.
So I think we should look prior to now. This margin lending has been quite operational in our market on the 2008 where we had the market crash, and basically there were two basic reasons that actually led to that the failure of our margin lending in Nigeria.
So we're doing it before.
We are doing it before.
Okay.
It was operational in the market before.
Okay.
So we have what we call the initial margin and also maintenance margin.
Okay.
So the initial margin is sort of your total contribution you make when you want to buy a particular stock.
Okay.
So let's assume now that you want to buy 1,000 shares at 10 naira. Normally the total cost will be 10,000 naira.
Yes, yes.
So there's always an initial margin. Let's say 50%. That means you provide 5,000 naira
of that 10,000.
Of that 10,000
of
naira.
your own money.
Exactly.
Okay.
While the remaining 5,000 will be covered out by the stock brokerage.
Okay.
So that's what we call the initial margin. However, what we saw then was that most of these brokerage houses never followed that. Most of them never followed that initial margin.
It's the Nigerian way.
You see them doing. You see most of
Okay.
them doing quite lower than that.
Yeah.
And secondly is the maintenance margin. So maintenance margin is basically your equity.
Yes.
Of your margin account. Of your margin account after purchasing the equities.
The shares, yes.
So the maintenance margin could be like 25%. And let's say if stock price actually drop, it means that your baby margin call, which you have to contribute more money into your margin account.
Your account up.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So first of all, we see most of the stockbroking, they never even use that maintenance margin. And also when we see a shortfall, maybe with the stock price actually fall, most time you don't see that margin call play. And thirdly, again, another reason again is that most of the people operating at the margin lending, then they never had a very sound knowledge of how this thing works. And what just made everything just worse was the stock market crash that happened in 2008. That just ended everything.
Okay, so with all this now, why they think? I mean, again, for our listeners, they are not. This is not official, or it's just talk. Why are they thinking about bringing this back?
Okay, so it's one way to improve our stock markets, get more liquidity in the market,
okay, liquidity,
and
yes.
also there's also talks of introducing bank shares into this margin lending. So prior when it was operational, bank shares were never traded on margin lending,
right? And
I believe that was basically because of the kind of suicide risk that the banks face. One is that, let's say if an investor buys a bank stock, and the stock actually price decline massively. The client has lost his money and might not be able to pay back back the loan that he has borrowed from that from that bank. So it's a kind of like a two-sided and risk to the bank. So I think there's a talk now going on between the SEC and the CBN. So we'll just try and keep update, follow up, and see what they're bringing up.
And when you say SEC, it's Securities and Exchange Commission.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So I wonder what our listeners think. What do you guys think about being able to borrow money to buy shares? It will add liquidity
nice,
on the positive side, but if things go bad,
we have messages.
Okay, we do. What are we seeing out there?
Benga Kamo says the rates will remain unchanged, long and short of MPC meetings. And Dami says, morning guys, some firms are already providing margin lending and are doing it the right way. Question is, why the need for CBN regulation if no operator is using funds from the banks?
Well, see, thank you, Dami, for that. That's where the conversation comes in, because they're actually thinking about including the banks in this particular thing. Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, what's Yinka saying?
And then Yinka said, well, margin loans really? Well, let's see. At least that's close to what a certain bank claimed a certain judge did with $500,000 loan. But my issue is with the pensions. Now, the money is just lying there with claims and that it's being put to work, right? I feel the owners of the respective pensions should be allowed to borrow out of it. After all, it's like me borrowing myself my money. Like me funding my own mortgage.
Yeah,
less risk. So, and I've asked the same question myself.
Right. Well, I think isn't there a provision for that? Thanks for your message.
I actually had a discussion with one of the Pencoms managers, and I mentioned that there's actually a discussion going on with Pencom now on using part of your pension funds as a collateral
for a mortgage.
Exactly, for mortgage.
Okay, yes. So they're talking about.
Well, then the question is, what percentage of your pension would they allow?
I had 25%.
Yes, I had 25% myself.
What's the fear? Because I noticed that most pension providers are reluctant to allow.
Yeah, I mean the issue is of course whether you.
I don't think it's there in the Pencom because they can't come up with anything themselves. It's Pencom. It's a regulated industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the Pencom.
Makes sense. Doctor sent us a message. It says the main problem with margin call loans, you meant to say, was lack of daily mark
to market. Yeah.
And when stuff hits the fan, the regulators threw the baby with the water.
With battle that. In fact, Dotson, there's actually a movie. I suggest everybody watch this. Margin Call is actually a
Margin
film.
Call.
Yeah, it
Margin
came out a
Call.
few years
Oh,
ago. Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
see.
one of
That's
my
also-
favorite Wall Street
So I was
movies. Yeah.
referring to.
Yeah.
Lawson says, well, part of the causes of the 2008 banking crisis was margin lending on bank stocks.
Aha.
Interesting.
Wahala.
Benga is back. He says, is it possible to decentralize power generation to enable states and other players in the market? It's another conversation.
That's another one. I
That's
think
on-
big
been on
guy.
that for
If you
ages.
could do it, we would have done it already.
J-Lo says the loans the brokers gave out were from the banks.
Mm.
That was part of what was in the experience in 2008. More so, how many brokers actually have the capacity to give loans?
Exactly.
Thank you for that,
And
Jill. That's a good
AIE
point.
says, good morning, team. Good morning to you. I think there's no short selling introduced.
If there's no such thing.
If there's no short
Yeah.
selling introduced, that this may go up in flames like the last time.
So we've got some skepticism from our
know.
listeners this morning. They're not
Olatunji
sure.
from our papa says, well, margin loan in the bank is a welcome development. I just hope we do not fail, just like what happened in the past. There's a lot of troubled waters in the past.
Okay,
Well,
so
past
Olatunji-
experience is coming back to
exactly,
haunt
yeah,
us.
but he's feeling a little positive. He's feeling a little positive. Okay, okay.
All right.
All right. What else are we talking about? Okay, well, Cadbury. We must discuss this. Couple people send me messages. Emmanuel, Cadbury has, they've appointed their first
First female MD.
female MD
Yeah,
in
50
their entire history, Mrs. Oyemika Adeboye. I hope I got her name right.
Yeah.
So congrats to her. They also released their results.
Yeah, they also did their result last week. So we saw their profit was actually up almost 140% year on year.
Mm.
And that was largely due to cost efficiency.
Okay.
So the gross margin was actually lower due to higher cost of sales.
Mm.
We saw price of cocoa was up over 2018, so that affected their gross margin.
Mm.
However, when you go down, we actually saw lower selling and distribution expenses. Admin expenses was also down.
Okay.
So that's just a boost the company's profits over the year.
So cost management.
Cost
generally for
management
Cadbury.
generally. So
Okay.
they declared a dividend of 25 kobo.
Mm.
That was about 2.3% dividend yield based on the last closing price.
Okay, okay, all right. I know you're a bank guy, so you don't really cover Cadbury, but thank you for that. Okay, I do want to complain about something. I tried to find Cadbury Nigeria's Twitter handle, and I could not find it. I know a lot of people listen to this program, so if you're listening, Cadbury Nigeria's, Cadbury Ireland, Cadbury UK,
Australia.
Cadbury Australia, which was it? Like Cadbury Canada, I don't know, but no Cadbury Nigeria Twitter handle. Why? Okay, but congrats to appointing their first female MD
Yes.
in their 50-year history.
And I did a bit of research. She's a chartered accountant.
Yes.
She joined the board of the company in November 2008 as finance and strategy director of West Africa.
She's solid.
Yeah,
She's solid. So I
she's solid.
wish her luck because Cadbury has work to
her-
do.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think it was the top loser on the exchange on Friday or so. All right, Emmanuel of ARM, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And of course, thank you all for your messages as well. Really appreciate it.
All right. Next, we'll have some lovely tunes that will lead us nicely to 7:30 for Freshly Pressed 981, which will bring you detailed analysis of the newspaper stories this morning. Thank you, Mano.